Good morning, guys. Okay, so today we are talking about 1-9, order of operations. Zoom in a little bit more. Okay. Order of operations, it is the rules to follow when simplifying, sure I can spell correctly, when simplifying an expression that contains multiple operations. We use this all of the time in math. It always applies no matter what we're doing. Wrong way. Okay. One way to remember this is some people remember it as PEMDAS. PEMDAS, I kind of changed this to GEMDAS because when you do the P, it just makes you think of one parentheses. But I like to think of this as grouping symbols, which is parentheses, brackets, absolute value, square root, division bar or the fraction bar, to name a few. At the moment, I can't think of any others, but I think that's all of them. But that's why I say grouping symbols for G for GEMDAS versus PEMDAS, just parentheses, because there's a lot of other grouping symbols than just parentheses. And next we have E for exponents. Okay. Then we have multiplication or division. Multiplication. Backslash division. In order from left to right, whichever one comes first. Okay, it's not always multiplication first, and then the last is addition or subtraction. Addition or subtraction, whichever comes first from left to right. Those are the words that I should have said for this one up here because they both apply. All right, now let's work a couple of examples together. Okay, I'm going to start with number 3 because the first couple of ones are very basic and I just want to make sure we can hit several different types. All right, so when I'm looking at this, I'm going to underline what I'm going to do first. Since we have things separated by things, we can sometimes do things at the same time. But I'm going to go through and I'm going to look for anything that's got grouping symbols. Well, because that's what I look for first, the absolute value. So that's what I'm going to do first. So the absolute value of negative 18 is 18. So then I rewrite everything. So I have 9 squared plus 28 divided by 4 minus 18. Next step. No more grouping symbols, so now I look for exponents, and there's an exponent right here, so I'm going to do 9 squared, which is 81 plus 28 divided by 4, and I much prefer to use the fraction bar versus the division symbol, minus 18. And next I'm looking to see, okay, no exponents. No, I'm looking for multiplication or division, which there is. There's division right here. So that's what I'm doing next. So I'm going to underline that. So I'm bringing down everything else. And I have 81 plus 28 divided by 4 is 7 minus 18. And now I'm looking for any addition or subtraction as I read from left to right. And it just so happens that the addition comes first. It's not always going to be that way. So I now do 81 plus 7, which gives me 88 minus 18. And I do that subtraction. And if I don't know it, I'm doing my calculations off to the side, okay? So remember, calculations are done separate from steps of solving, okay? We make almost like an inverted triangle here, and we get our final answer of 70. This is the steps for solving. My calculations are done somewhere else. They might be done over here. Like if I've got to do that 88 minus 18, I'm doing that subtraction over here. All right, next problem. Getting my stuff situated here. Next one, we're going to flip this over. Excuse me. We got my allergies this morning. Jumping over, and we're going to look now at number 8. All right, so there's some times when we can do multiple things. If I'm looking at this, okay, I can do the 11 minus 8. That's inside my grouping symbols. Remember, I'm looking for grouping symbols first, so I can do this 11 minus 8. Now, when I'm looking at this, I have another set of grouping symbols, okay? This square root symbol, all right? Remember, when I'm inside grouping symbols, order of operations starts again. So let's kind of jot that down, okay? Inside grouping symbols, GEMDAS starts over again. Okay, so once I'm inside of here, I look to see, okay, 29 minus 2 squared, there's no parentheses inside the square root symbol. So now I'm looking for exponents. Inside of here, there's also a 2 squared. So I can take care of that and this 11 minus 8 at the same time. So now I'm going to have, underneath my square root symbol, 29 minus 4 times, open parentheses, 11 minus 8, which is 3 squared. Leave the parentheses, especially if we end up with a negative number, because that makes a difference, minus 26. Now I'm looking for my next step in order of operations. Okay, so I've got a grouping symbol, the square root symbol, so I have what's underneath this grouping symbol. I also have an exponent, which is the 3 squared, so I can do both of those at the same time. So now I have the square root of 25 minus 9 minus 26. Oh, that's not minus, that's multiplication. This is where you got to be careful so you don't make that mistake just like I did. All right, and now order of operations. Oh, I forgot to add, a radical is just like an exponent. So the square root symbol. So I'm going to come back over here, and where it says exponents, I'm going to add and radicals, because radical or square root is just the opposite of something squared. Okay, radical or square roots. Those are the opposites. So therefore, that's another thing. That's why I've got to do the square root of 25, because that's like a grouping symbol. I've got to take care of what's underneath it. So therefore, square root of 25 is 5 times 9 minus 26. I cannot do this subtraction right now because I have to do the square root and this multiplication first. Now I'm going to do the multiplication because it is done before subtraction. So 5 times 9 gives me 45 minus 26. I don't know what that is, so I'm over here doing that subtraction. 45 minus 26, got to borrow. 15 minus 6 is 9, 3 minus 2 is 1, so we get a final answer of 19. This is work, this is calculations, okay? Work, calculations. There is a difference. All right. Next example, number 9. Okay, this fraction bar, that means I'm going to do everything in the top and then everything in the bottom and divide last, okay? So must finish all in top and bottom before divide. All right, so in here I'm going to do 4 to the third because that's an exponent. There's no parentheses or grouping symbol other than the fraction bar. So I've got to finish everything. That's almost like I put all of this inside of parentheses when you have this big fraction bar. So I've got to finish everything in the top and in the bottom first. So I can do these exponent things first. So now, okay, I don't know what 4 to the cubed is, or 4 to the third. So that's 4 times 4 times 4. So that's going to give me 16 times 4, which is 64. So I now have 18 minus 64 plus 25 all over 28 minus 25. And now I can do this subtraction and this subtraction because I don't have any other multiplication or division. Because remember, I have to do everything in the top and everything in the bottom first. All right, so now 18 minus 64, I don't know what that is, but I do know that I'm going to have a negative because these two are different signs and the battle is winning. And the negatives are winning that battle. So I'm going to actually be doing 64 minus 18. So that's going to have to borrow. 14 minus 8 is 6, 46. So I end up with a negative 46 plus 25 all over 3. So along with this, we have to remember integer rules. There's a lot of things we got to remember. So if you got to jot these things down, do so. Remember the integer rules. All right, and next, now I have to take care of what's on top here. They're doing battle again, and in this instance, again, the negatives are winning that battle. But I have to subtract because they're different signs. So I'm now going to have 46 minus 25. So that's 1, 2. So I have a negative 21 divided by 3. Negative 21 divided by 3 gives me a negative 7 as my answer. All right, next example. Number 11. I can leave number 11. That's kind of similar. Let's jump down to number 13. I'm going to jump down to number 13. Okay. So, first things first. Let's get it out of our head. Oh my God, it's fractions. It's done. It's over with. I'm scared. No more. Okay, it's done. All right, here we go. Let's just break it down. Order of operations. I've got to take care of exponents. Okay. So here we go. So I'm going to have 1 to the third minus 7 over 6. Excuse me. My allergies are bothering me this morning. Times 9 over 14. Plus, now when it's 2 to the third squared, that means I'm doing 2 to the third times 2 to the third, which is going to give me 4/9. Okay, so now we continue. Order of operations. Multiply. Alrighty, so I'm going to bring down everything else. 1 to the third minus, so I'm going to see, it's multiplication. I can cross simplify here. 3 goes into 6 twice. 3 goes into 9 3 times. So now I'm going to have 21 over 28. Can I make that? Ooh, oh, I didn't even see this. Look, 7 goes into 7 one time. 7 goes into 14 twice. We can make this even smaller. And it's okay to erase and change if you notice things to go back for. So 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 4/9. And now I'm down to where I've got to get a common denominator between these, okay? Might as well at this point make it one that they can all go into, because I'm going to have to add or subtract all of them, even though I'm going to start with these two at first, okay? But I'm going to go ahead and change to all of the same common denominator, which 3, 4, 9. I'm going to start thinking with 9. So that's going to go 9, 18, 27, 36, no, 36 works. Okay, so I'm going to have a common denominator of 36. All right, 1 goes into 36, or 3 goes into 36 12 times. So that's going to give me 12. My new 4 goes into 36 9 times. So that's going to give me a new numerator of 27. 9 goes into 36 4 times. So my new fractions are 12 over 36, 27 over 36, 16 over 36. Okay, so now order of operations. Do my subtraction, follow my integer rules. So this is 2 different signs, positive, negative. So therefore I'm going to have a negative, and then I'm going to have 27 minus 12, so that's 5 and 1, so that's a negative 15 over 36 plus 16 over 36. Okay, following integer rules, different signs, so I'm actually subtracting, so I'm doing 16 minus 15. My positives are winning, so we get a final answer of 1 over 36 as my answer. Your assignment is to finish the notes problems. Have a great day.